In 1984, filmmakers Curdy Stevens and producer Jane Hamilton, operating under the banner of VCA Pictures in Los Angeles, set out to redefine mature storytelling with a bold new chapter in a provocative series. Determined to transcend the grainy, short-form loops that had dominated earlier niche productions, they envisioned a feature-length project that rivaled mainstream cinema in ambition. Taboo III, released in July 1984, fused complex themes with experimental storytelling, moody aesthetics, and a soap opera-style narrative, cementing its status as a defining artifact of its era. Decades later, it remains a topic of discussion for its audacious approach, cult following, and influence on independent cinema's evolution. Stevens and Hamilton, veterans of VCA's boundary-pushing productions, aimed for Taboo III to stand out as a legitimate movie. They prioritized cinematic techniques, lush lighting, deliberate pacing, and a synth-drenched soundtrack that captured the 1980s zeitgeist. Unlike the quick turnaround films of the era, this project demanded a star capable of carrying both dramatic weight and the project's unique expectations. Kay Parker, a 40-year-old actress with a magnetic presence, was their immediate choice. Having captivated audiences in the first two Taboo films, Parker's blend of emotional depth and charisma made her ideal for the lead role of Barbara Scott. Legend has it that Stevens, during a casual script read-through, declared, "Kay is this film." Her savvy negotiation skills secured her a $30,000 upfront fee plus 1.5% of the gross, a deal unheard of in the industry at the time. With Taboo III grossing over $10 million by 1986, her residuals reportedly reached $3,500 monthly, outpacing many Hollywood contracts of the era and rivaling the lucrative deal Marilyn Chambers struck for a 1972 genre classic. Filmed over 3 weeks in Los Angeles on 35mm film, Taboo III was a visual leap forward. The production embraced soft, moody lighting and a polished look, with scenes unfolding in suburban homes, a fictional rock club, and a makeshift soundstage built in a VCA-owned studio. In a bold stylistic choice, some scenes relied heavily on visual storytelling, with minimal dialogue to heighten emotional tension. A nod to avant-garde films like Easy Rider, rather than standard independent fare. The film's themes didn't fully unfold until 25 minutes into the 95-minute runtime, a deliberate slow burn that tested audience patience but rewarded them with psychological depth. The extended length and focus on character arcs set it apart from its contemporaries, prioritizing narrative over instant gratification. The story, penned by Helene Terrell, a pseudonym, built on the series' earlier foundation, drawing loosely from underground storytelling trends circulating in the 1980s alternative culture. No traditional screenplay existed. Stevens and his team worked from a detailed outline, improvising dialogue and visual motifs during the shoot. The plot follows Barbara Scott, Kay Parker, a woman grappling with loneliness after her older son, Paul, abruptly leaves home. Living with her younger son, Jimmy, Jerry Butler, Barbara wrestles with jealousy over his manipulative girlfriend, Diane, tawny writer, and her own inner conflicts. She seeks counsel from Joyce McBride, Honey Wilder, a liberated friend who embraces unconventional family dynamics with her son, Brian, Blake Palmer. A quirky subplot involves Jimmy and his friend Blake, Mick South, as aspiring rock musicians, chasing a record deal amidst band rehearsals and a shady producer, Ron Jeremy. The narrative unfolds as a psychological ritual rather than a linear tale, best experienced through viewing. The ensemble cast featured Golden Age heavyweights. Kay Parker's Barbara was the emotional anchor, her performance hailed as spellbinding by fans. Jerry Butler, as Jimmy, brought youthful energy, doubling as a rocker in the film's campy band scenes. Honey Wilder's Joyce stole scenes with her bold charisma, her chemistry with Parker sparking some of the film's most memorable moments. Blake Palmer's Brian was understated yet intense, while Tawny Writer's Diane added petulant drama. Ron Jeremy's cameo as a slick record producer was a humorous highlight, with fans citing his negotiation scene as a standout. Supporting players included Pamela Mann and Joanna Storm, both well-known in the genre, and Mike Ranger in a brief nod to the series' past. Most interiors were shot in a Los Angeles studio, with exteriors capturing the city's 1980s suburban sprawl. Think neon-lit diners and palm-lined streets. The production was a grassroots effort, with Stevens and Hamilton assembling a crew of local freelancers, VCA regulars, and enthusiastic amateurs. The directors were hands-on, overseeing cinematography, editing, and even appearing in Blink and You'll Miss Them cameos as club patrons. The guerrilla-style shoot embraced spontaneity, with Stevens experimenting with camera angles to create a surreal, dreamlike tone. The soundtrack, a mix of original rock tracks for the band subplot and synth-heavy instrumentals, leaned into the era's cheesy charm, with one reviewer calling it gloriously over the top. Budgeted at under $100,000, the film's high production values, crisp 35mm visuals and dynamic lighting made it a standout, though some early VHS transfers suffered from overly dark tinting. Taboo III premiered in theaters across the US in July 1984, riding the wave of the home video boom. Marketed as the final chapter, despite later sequels, its posters played up the series' notoriety and Parker's star power. The timing was perfect. The VHS market exploded, and the film's daring themes sparked discussion without crossing into the controversies faced by some peers. Grossing millions, it was a commercial triumph. Critics praised its ambition, with IMDb users later giving it a 5.8 out of 10, calling it cheesy yet captivating. Letterboxd reviewers lauded its gorgeous lighting and soap opera intensity, while noting its pacing could drag. A 2022 4K restoration by Vinegar Syndrome, part of a Taboo I to IV box set, fixed visual issues and reignited fan interest, with commentaries and essays highlighting its cultural impact. The film's legacy is multifaceted. To some, it's a curious relic of a lost era. To others, a daring experiment that gave mature cinema a narrative soul. It influenced later independent films and earned a devoted cult following, with Reddit and Letterboxd users dissecting its weirdly compelling charm. Kay Parker became an icon, retiring after the film to pursue astrology and other ventures. Taboo III's blend of psychological drama, surreal visuals, and 1980s excess, complete with big hair and synth riffs, remains a touchstone of the golden age. It was bold, divisive, and transformative, proving that adult-oriented cinema could aspire to artistry and leaving an indelible mark on film history.